Good evening and welcome to Turner Classic Movies. I'm Dave Karger. Halloween is just a few days away, so tonight on TCM we're getting into the spirit, so to speak, with a lineup of paranormal pictures. Up first is a movie that often makes it onto lists of the best horror films ever made. From 1982, co-written and produced by Steven Spielberg, a seminal film from my childhood, Poltergeist. For a long time, haunted houses in movies were mostly spooky, uninhabited mansions that claimed their victims when people would visit temporarily, out of curiosity. But Poltergeist proved that haunted houses could be even scarier if they were ordinary lived-in homes. The movie begins when a married couple moves into a brand new suburban home with their 3 children. But they soon discover that the house is not as idyllic as it seems. Steven Spielberg wrote the story and produced the film, and by this point, he had already made 3 of the biggest box office hits of all time: Jaws, Close Encounters of the Third Kind, and Raiders of the Lost Ark. In 1982, he came out with Poltergeist and E.T., and it was because of his busy schedule and work on E.T. that he did not direct Poltergeist. He gave that job instead to Tobe Hooper, whose low-budget 1974 horror film, The Texas Chainsaw Massacre, had made a big impression on Spielberg. Spielberg and Hooper didn't agree on everything while working on this production, but they were united in thinking that the lead roles should be played by virtually unknown actors. They felt it would be scarier if the characters weren't played by established movie stars. So the lead roles went to former comedy writer Craig T. Nelson and former soap opera star JoBeth Williams, both of whom only had a few movie credits on their resumes. From 1982, also with Heather O'Rourke, Beatrice Straight, and Zelda Rubinstein, here is Poltergeist. When Poltergeist premiered in 1982, it turned out to be a huge box office hit, and it went on to earn 3 Oscar nominations for its sound effects editing, visual effects, and original score. It went on to spawn a franchise that included 2 sequels released in 1986 and 1988, as well as a spin-off TV series and a 2015 reboot. Steven Spielberg was only involved in the original, but composer Jerry Goldsmith and stars Craig T. Nelson and JoBeth Williams worked on the first 2 films. And Heather O'Rourke with young Carol Ann Freeling in all 3 of the Poltergeist movies released in the 1980s. Another memorable star was Zelda Rubinstein, who stood 4'3" and played the eccentric psychic. This was only her 3rd role in a feature film, and she went on to reprise the character in both Poltergeist sequels, and she also appeared in another one of my favorite childhood titles, 16 Candles. Up next, Deborah Kerr stars in a chilling horror film from 1961 based on a classic story by Henry James.
Escape